This week brings a full moon, a massive meditation alignment, and the mighty move of massive Jupiter into the sign of Gemini. And that means something different for everyone. So stay tuned. It's all in this week's podcast. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Mainly Moonology podcast. We have a lot of information for you this week. I think it's going to be kind of amazing. So stay tuned. Let's start off by talking about the full moon in Sagittarius. Then we're going to talk about an amazing alignment between Jupiter and Neptune. And then we'll talk about Jupiter's move into Gemini and how that means something different for everybody. So let's begin. So this week's full moon is going to be a fabulous one. In some ways, for me, full moons are kind of all the same in a way, because for me, new moons are about setting intentions and full moons are about releasing whatever you need to release to the divine. So there's that. And I do really focus on letting go, surrendering, releasing at the full moon. But each full moon does have a different flavor depending on which sign it's in, what aspects or alignments it's making to other planets and so on. So looking at the Moonology diary, the key words for this lunation are adventurous, daring, feels right, and dreamy. Okay, so Sagittarius is a fantastic sign. We all have Sagittarius in our charts somewhere. That is just how it works. And so this week with the full moon in Sagittarius, the Sag energy is going to be really prominent. Okay, so Sagittarius is exciting, it's adventurous, it's upbeat, it sees the glass as half full, it's optimistic, and it's basically the sign that helps us to see the bigger picture of life and to go out into the world and look at life and look at our life philosophies and expand our mind and expand our horizons. Because it reminds us that we are here on planet Earth to explore the world. And even as I speak, I can hear I'm kind of speaking in a slightly raised voice, and I'm sorry, but it's that sort of Sagittarius. And I'm actually I know I come across as a bit overexcited, but it honestly is exciting to have a full moon in this sign. It comes once a year, and it really is a time to get out there and remember we're on this amazing planet. How can we see it? If you can travel now, great. If you can't, make some plans, do some armchair traveling. It's really a week to sort of also try and find a balance between where you are and where you want to be. Where you are may feel small, and that's fine. So what's your vision for your future? And also with travel, obviously the pandemic stopped us for quite a few years from being able to travel. We are now free to travel again. Have you been taking advantage of this? Where would you like to go? It's a week to sort of think, okay, the top 3 countries I would like to visit are. It's also worth noting that Sagittarius, which is the sign that the full moon is taking place in, isn't just about travel. It's also about study and seeing the bigger picture, opening the mind. So think about this week, is there a course of study that you want to do, that you've been doing, that you've been a bit slack with, anything like that? Try and turn the corner. Turn the corner between also worrying about the little stuff and seeing the big picture of life. Whatever's going on for you, just remember you are in the right place at the right time for your soul. Whatever you need to learn right now, you are learning through what you're experiencing. And by seeing the big picture of where you are, it's going to make it much easier for you to actually go in the direction you need to go in. Okay, especially with Sag being the sign of travel, and then we also have Jupiter, which is the planet that rules Sagittarius, on the move this week. So, you add all this up, it really is a time to try and open up your horizons as much as you can. And a gentle reminder, if you're on Facebook, and I know some people who are on Facebook just for this, I do a monthly full moon fire yagam. It's called a fire ceremony in my backyard here in London. Maybe one day we'll do it in some other place. We light a fire. It's something I was taught in India by my teacher, Sri Shakti Narayani Amma. And it's about offering everything up to the divine. And so that's what I'm going to do this week. Check my Facebook events page and you'll find the time. I actually do it on my page and also on the Hay House Facebook page. So you can catch it. It's free. And I'd love you to join. It's a really, really powerful thing, especially if you're going through a difficult time. Whenever I've gone through difficult times in the past, I actually lean into my moonology practices. I found that especially the full moon work, the new moon work is great when we set our intentions. The full moon for me is the secret source, SOURCE, of success, because it's when we actually offer it up to the divine, we surrender it, we release it, we accept it, and we say Om Namo Narayani, which basically means I surrender to the divine, or I surrender to the divine mother, and we allow the universe or divine or the mother or source or whatever you want to call it, spirit, to say, this hasn't worked out for me. I don't know what to do. Can I please put it in your hands? And I just want to mention as well, some of you will have seen the interview I did with my friend Natalie Latham, who lives at the ashram in India, where I've been going for nearly 20 years, and who taught me the chakra clearing chant. If you love the chakra clearing chant, we did it on a podcast episode a few months back. You can check the show notes for where that was. We'll put a link to it. But she taught me something a long time ago. When you have a big issue, and it's perfect for this week with the full moon in the sign of Sagittarius, which, by the way, also very much has a feeling of spirituality to it. She said, and it sounds really weird, but she told me this, and she lives at this ashram. She knows what she's talking about. She said, Yasmin, I just briefly, I won't digress too much, but briefly what it was that we wanted to move house. We were in a small flat, and it was I owned it, but it was too small. We had Louis, who was now 1.5 years and starting to walk, so we needed to go into a house. We needed a house with a garden, and we found 2 that we really liked. It was really hard to know which one was best. And I was talking to Natalie about it. She said, Yasmin, you just surrender it. And I said, okay. And she said, just say to the divine, to source. I think she even said, particularly say to Lakshmi, because Lakshmi is all about motherhood and families and so on. Just say, you know what, divine, I give this problem to you. This is your problem now, okay? Thank you for sorting it out for me and showing me the way to sort it out. I'm not saying that you just give it to the divine, you just expect everything to happen. Give it to the divine, see what comes back, and then act from there. So that is what I wanted to say about the full moon in Sagittarius this week. It's an amazing time to offer it all up to the divine, to see the bigger picture, to turn the corner where it comes to an issue that you've been like obsessing over, and just to allow your horizons to broaden. And if you can go away or make plans to go away, or even just dream about going away, so much the better. Have an amazing full moon. And I'll just give you the times as well around the world. So in LA, the full moon will take place at 6:53 a.m. In New York, May 23, 9:53 a.m. In London, May 23 at 2:53 p.m. And in Sydney, May 23 at 11:53 p.m. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is why you should definitely do some meditating this week. It's a very big week because we've got the full moon in Sag, but also we are going to have a fantastic alignment between Jupiter and Neptune. Now, on the one hand, I would say, just by the way, if your birthday is taking place around about now, you're lucky, because you will have this Jupiter sextile Neptune alignment in your birthday chart. If you don't know what that means, don't worry too much about it. Just know that whenever you have your birthday, at the moment that the sun returns to the spot on the zodiac 360 degrees, when it returns to the zodiac degree that it was when you were born, then you actually look at that chart and it casts a chart for the next 12 months. And that's sort of it's called your solar return. It's your birthday chart. So if it's your birthday this week, you are going to have this beautiful Jupiter sextile Neptune on your chart. Now, what does it mean? Jupiter is the planet of plenty, of good times, of the big picture. Neptune is the planet of the divine, of dreams, and including things like enlightenment and meditation. So when you get a harmonious alignment between Jupiter and Neptune, what you're getting is actually a chance for increased connection to the divine, increased inspiration, a step forward towards being more enlightened. And really, on a practical level, it's a week to meditate. So what we're going to do this week is we're going to offer you a meditation which you can listen to separately. It's not coming up in this podcast. We'll have it as a separate breakout meditation that you can do. If you're listening on the podcast, it will just be listed underneath whatever you press to get to this podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, it's going to be a separate YouTube meditation just for this week, because it's such an important time to meditate. And if you've never meditated, I'm going to make it so simple so that even if you've never meditated before, you'll be able to start to meditate. Okay. So there we go. The other beautiful thing about the Jupiter-Neptune alignment is it's very much about potentially wishes coming true. It's really such a beautiful alignment, and it's quite rare as well, because Jupiter and Neptune are both really slow moving planets. So this week, what I'd encourage you to do to really make the most of it is to really lean into your spiritual side, lean into your spiritual journey. I know it's not always easy. We've all seen those funny memes which say, you know, what I thought my spiritual journey would look like, and it's someone surrounded by rainbows and butterflies and unicorns, and then what my spiritual journey actually looks like, and then it's someone, you know, who looks like they're in the middle of a nightmare. I understand that the spiritual journey is not always the easiest journey, because what we're doing is we're actually facing up to ourselves and trying to work on ourselves. And again, not wanting to digress too much, but consider the possibility that we incarnate here on the earth every lifetime with lessons to learn. Okay. And the more we refuse to learn these lessons, the harder they become. Okay. The more challenging the lessons become. But every now and then the skies offer us a kind of get out of spiritual growth free card, although it is still about spiritual growth. It's more about the beautiful side. It is about the rainbows and the butterflies and the unicorns. Jupiter-Neptune is really a time where you just got to go, oh, wow, actually, I like this little life of mine after all. It's a time to really tune in and think about, you know, what are my dreams? What inspires me? What lifts me up? You know, and how can I get more of that into my life? And to be confident and optimistic that you can actually live a life more aligned with whatever it is that you want to do with your life. And I should also mention that we will be having a special event for my members, my Mainly Moonology members, to do with the Jupiter-Neptune alignment. I would say we're going to meditate together then. And also we're going to have an event also just a couple of days later in the members area for what I'm about to tell you about, which is actually the planet of good luck, Jupiter, changing signs for the first time in 12 months. If you're not a member, we'd love to have you in the membership. You can sign up www.mainlymoonologymembership.com. It's amazing. We've got nearly 1,000 members, and we just try and stay on track with all the energies that are going on from any one time to another. So now let's talk about Jupiter into Gemini is a big deal in astrology. It's such a big week this week. I'm so glad you've tuned in, because there's a lot to know about. Jupiter is, as I said, the planet of good luck, good times, plenty, adventure, taking little risks, being daring, going out into the world, studying, traveling, changing your life philosophy, seeing the big picture, the great cosmic quest for understanding. Jupiter is all that. And wherever Jupiter is in your chart is where you are extra lucky. And I always think of Jupiter as, you know, if you're playing tennis, if you've ever played tennis, we all played tennis as kids in Australia. I don't know about elsewhere. But, you know, if you hit the ball and it hits the net and then it plops over to the other side, just drops, and you've won the point. For me, that's a classic example of Jupiter. Saturn will always be there to teach you lessons, but Jupiter just puts that little gust of luck underneath you. Jupiter is a very masculine energy in astrology, but it does have feminine counterparts in symbology. So we have Lady Luck, for example. So you can think of Jupiter as very masculine, or you can think of Jupiter as the energy of Lady Luck, as we call her, or there is also the goddess Fortuna, just because it's a really good time to work with these energies as Jupiter changes signs. So in other words, what's happening in the skies is, from our vantage point here on Earth, we are seeing, you know, the backdrops of the planets are changing. Jupiter's moving into Gemini. for the first time in 12 years. Okay, so Jupiter changes signs about once a year. So this is the first time in 12 years that we've had this. So there's a whole new burst of energy and a burst of good luck coming into your chart as Jupiter changes signs. So really what you want to do is tune into Gemini, tune into Jupiter, do your altar, think about where you feel lucky in your life, be grateful for that. Think about where you want to travel. Again, think about where you want to study and think about the big picture of life. Count your blessings. They are the ways to tune into Jupiter. If you're in my membership already, thank you. And I will be sure that you get a PDF which will tell you exactly where Jupiter is going to be bringing you better luck in your chart based on your time, date, and place of birth. So I also wanted to give you something to read this week. If you are interested in astrology and you would like to know more about things like Jupiter sextiling Neptune and Jupiter moving into Gemini and how to harness the luck and so on, I wanted to mention this book to you. It's one of my old favorites. It's absolutely brilliant. It's called Secrets from a Stargazer's Notebook: Making Astrology Work for You for Those Who Don't Have All Day to Figure Out Tomorrow. And it's by a woman called Debbie Kempton Smith. Now, I have never met Debbie. I believe she is still with us. I actually don't know at all. Most people who write renowned astrology books become kind of well known in the astrology community. Debbie, I've never really seen doing many talks, many conferences or whatever, but she did give the planet this amazing book. And if you are interested in astrology, I just wanted to highly recommend it. Definitely worth checking out. And we will put a link in the show notes for how you can buy the book. Basically, it's know when to spot love, lust, or a beautiful friendship, master $1 million timing tricks to win at nearly everything, learn how to read a chart in less than 5 minutes, discover secret starry shortcuts that would have taken 5,000 years to learn. She's actually got an amazing sense of humor. And surf the easy look it up tables for all the planets. So this book actually came out, let me tell you, gosh, it came out in 1999. So it's more than, I guess it's 25 years old this year, which is just amazing. It's 150,000 copies sold, the irreverent classic. I just wanted to recommend it this week because if you're interested in astrology, I like to support you on your journey. I actually also have a book called Astrology Made Easy and will take you a long time to get through, but is worth the effort. Mine, I don't have it on my desk. Mine is much, much smaller. It doesn't come at things in the same way. It comes at things in a much more simple, direct, this is how you can read your chart or anyone else's chart. Take your pick. I would highly recommend both of them. Anyway, it's a huge week this week. There's lots to be happy about. The sign of Sagittarius is being sort of triggered or activated. Sagittarius is the happy-go-lucky, cheerful sign. We have Jupiter, the happy-go-lucky, cheerful planet active. So if we can't find a few things to be happy about this week, then we are just not trying. So I hope you have an amazing week. Thank you so much for being a part of the podcast. And please remember, we're going to hear a little outro along these lines, but if you could subscribe to this podcast, it helps us more than you know. It helps spread the word about the podcast. Just by subscribing, you sort of trigger some algorithm somewhere, and then the powers that be behind the podcast will send the podcast out to more people so that more people can know about it and more people can subscribe, and it will remain free. And the more people that listen in, the better we can make the podcast itself, and also the more amazing guests we can get on. Though I have to say, we have had some pretty amazing guests on this show. If you haven't heard them, just scroll through the archives and you'll find some amazing, amazing guests. So thanks for listening. Happy full moon. Hope to see you at the full moon fire ceremony. Make the most of the Jupiter sextile to Neptune and the move of Jupiter into Gemini. And I will see you in the members area if you're a member, and we'll be doing all our celebrations about all this together on Zoom. Lots of love.